All right, traders, I'm going to be going over the top option plays heading into this week. First off, we're going to be starting with the SPY. Then we're going to be going into the top stocks, including AMC and limit stock. Let's get straight into the analysis. This is going to prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices. So first things first, let's address SPY. SPY is in the process of having a micro gap close reversal to the downside. We talked about in the previous two videos ago how there was a gap to fill at 410.97, and once it fills the gap, that it was likely to start to have a reversal to the downside, which it ended up doing. And you could see right here, it is doing the same thing now that it did at that 410 gap at a lower gap. Let me show you this. I'm going to disable extended hours just to show you visually what it is that I'm talking about. And it is in the process of continuation of having a further gap close reversal. So the SPY ended up gapping down on Friday. As you know, we were expecting the market to crash. Members within Trader Society absolutely crushed it. And I told them within the Discord server, if you ended up swing trading puts, or if you want to buy puts, in terms of swing trading puts, take your profits. If you're in a short-term swing trade, take your profits at open. And if you want to buy puts, wait till the previous closing price, which was right here at 407.38. So I led them in the right direction. And I also had an amazing trade where I made over a 200% return buying SPX options towards the low right around here and riding this up to fill the gap, right? So with that being said, SPY ended up filling the gap. Once it filled the gap, it had a reversal and it started going back down. However, there is resistance right here at 406, and that is starting to react to support, and it is starting to head back up to fill the gap. So this 407.38 previous closing price, along with this 406, is going to be the make it or break it zone. For the bears to remain in control for the micro, we need to see a crack below 406. For the bulls to gain back control for the micro and to see a trend reversal shift to the continued upside, they would need to break above 407.38 and turn that into support. That is what would need to occur for the bulls to take control, right? So in terms of your downside potential for the micro, if 406 cracks and reacts as a resistance level, we will be heading back down to right here, $405. If that cracks, then the next level will be $403. Those would be the profit taking zones. If you are seeing bearish reactions tomorrow, negative resistance, you're seeing bearish resistance, lower highs, it's struggling to break above 407 to 407.38. 406 is cracking, it's looking bearish. Those would be your two overall targets, and I would only aim for the first target in this situation. Now, in terms of your upside potential, for the bulls to flip the trend, it would need to break above 407.38. If that can occur, then the next level that the SPY would be on track to break out to would be $408. If it breaks above 408, it goes to 410. If it breaks above 410, it officially fills this gap right here at 410.97. So in terms of the best price you can possibly short into this week, would be this 410.97. If the bulls are taking control and you see it going bullish above 407, then wait until 410.97 to buy puts. If you see it reacting bearish at 407, then you can give it a try with a max risk of 408 with a re-entry at 410.97, right? So yeah, that's the overall analysis in terms of the SPY. We went over the upside potential and the downside potential and what to look for in terms of, well, how does this chart look, in my opinion? So I will say this, the bulls have been on quite the run throughout the past month, and I don't think it's over. I think we can pull back for the micro. I can definitely see that occurring, especially if 407 reacts as a resistance. The bears are going to show some strength for the micro. But overall, in terms of like end of December, I think we can still go higher. I can see 410.97 minimum, and then we have to see how it reacts at 410.97 to give a further price action analysis. But that's how I see it, man. I explained to you how to determine if the bulls or bears are in control for the micro. In terms of the macro direction for December, I think we can push higher. That's what I think. I think we can explode up a little bit more. But we'll see. We got to take it one step at a time, and we got to see how it reacts at 407, and we got to see how it reacts at 410.97. So the next trading opportunities will be at 407, 407.38, and 410.97. That's where I'm looking to make trades. As of now, during extended hours trading session, the SPY is having, it looks like it's having a small move to the downside. So we'll see how it reacts to tomorrow. Yeah, it's having a small move to the downside. It closed at 406.91. It's at 406.26. So it's in the process of having a gap close reversal. The bears are still in control. Under 406, puts are going to print. It'll be a bloodbath if it can crack 405. Really no interest in buying calls at the moment. We will likely see a bounce at $400 if the SPY does drop that low to $400. So those are overall thoughts. Those are the key levels. My levels of interest. So write these down. $407. So 406.91 to 407.38. That zone. If that reacts bearish, super bearish. 410.97. If it breaks above 407.38, then 410.97 is my next level for puts. So those are my put zone levels. Use tight stops, like $1 point against you. And then in terms of call zones, what are the call zones? Well, it's gapping down. It was trying to at least, and it's in the process of having a gap close reversal. So in terms of your best price to be buying calls this week, I would say the lower to mid 390s, like 394 to 395, that zone. I could see a strong bounce off of 394 to 395. That'd be the call zone. So I gave you the key levels for puts. I gave you the key levels for calls. In terms of calls, like I said, 394, 395 zone. In terms of puts, 407. If that doesn't work out, then 410.97. Use bearish confirmations. Do not just blindly buy puts or calls. Wait for the reaction at the key levels. So we explain the levels of interest for puts and we explain the levels of interest for calls. We will likely see a bounce initially at 400, but once 400 reacts as a resistance, it's going to go to 394 to 395, and we should see a bounce towards 394, 395 if that occurs. Now let's get into our top option plays. So AMC looks very bearish. So this recently ran up from $7 a share all the way to $9 a share. And you could see, if you look at this channel, you have a lot of support at $8, right? So what I dislike about this play on AMC is it is a support level, but what I do like about it is it's showing strong signals and confirmations that AMC stock is going to crash, making this one of my top option plays. What I would look into is, so in terms of my options trading strategy, I'm scalping, I'm getting in and out fairly quickly. I'm going with the closest strike price to the stock price. So in this example, since it's at 810, I would go with a $8.10 put strike with the closest expiration of December 5th. So that's what I do, and these contracts are extremely cheap, especially considering they expire in 5 days. So yeah, the game plan for this one is short the key breakdown. The reason why I think it's going to crack and the reason why I think it's bearish, it's been approaching this $8 level quite a few times. It's been holding up, but it keeps forming lower highs. It's forming lower highs in 850s. It's forming lower highs in 850s. It keeps getting slapped back down. Now it's forming lower highs at the previous closing price at 810, closed weak during extended hours. It looks super bearish. So I think AMC is going to see some downside potential into this week. I think the $8 put strikes are going to be printing. So pay attention to the $8 key breakdown on this. Another reason why I'm bearish is the daily chart does not look bullish. You know, this candlestick right here that formed on the daily chart, this looks bearish, and it recently had an overreaction to the upside. So based off what I'm seeing, you know, this looks fairly bearish. This candlestick top wick is bearish towards previous support reacting as a resistance. It looks fairly bearish. There was also a gap to fill around 988. It almost filled it, started to have a partial gap close reversal. So I think AMC is going to see some downside potential. So if you see this $8 level crack react as a resistance, buy puts at that $8 level, and the max risk would be 820. Don't be greedy in terms of price targets. What I would say is this would be the price target overall this week, would be this like $7.60 level. $7.60. That would be the overall level towards this previous resistance. A nice crack from 8 to 760 with $8 strike puts would probably yield you at least a 30% return on those puts. And then my last stock that I'm going to be watching, this is going to be a swing trade that I've been interested in. I'm keeping an eye on limit, man. I've seen a lot of stocks that have had overreactions to the upside that like to top out around $500. We saw with mRNA a huge overreaction to the upside, and the exact top was at 497. Then it sold off hard. I made a 1,500% return on those put options. I believe I turned like $3,000 into like 40K, something like that. It's on my channel. If you go back in 2021, August 2021, you'll see that trade where I nailed the top of that. And then same thing with SPY. I made a killing on SPY this year, buying put options in the 480s. It topped out at 480. I was buying options in the 470 range. So yeah, I see it happen with a lot of stocks where they struggle at that key $500 level, and Limit has recently been struggling at that $494 level. So there was a gap to fill at 494. It filled the gap. It started going up, which is technically bullish. I wouldn't say this is the most bullish candlestick. My game plan for this one is wait for the first red day. When the first red day triggers, swing trade puts, hold it for a little bit, go with an at the money strike. That's my game plan for that one. And I want to give it some time. I'm looking into potentially January 20 leap options for that, where I kind of just hold and ride it out. But yeah, those are the main plays. That's more of a passive income swing trade. That's just on my radar. I'm looking for bearish confirmations to trigger. I'm looking for 500 to react as a resistance. If it can't react as a resistance, then I have no interest or business on buying puts or shorting this. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, AMC and SPY, these should do well, especially, SPY. AMC, you got to get in, you got to get out, you got to time it perfectly. That's a tough stock to be day trading, especially with options, I've noticed. So just be a little careful, but it looks like it's going to crack $8 for the $8 puts to print. And yeah, that's my overall thoughts. That's my overall analysis. In terms of the macro for SPY, I do see us going higher into later of December. As of now, it is in the process of gap close reversals to continue to go down to maybe even potentially crack $400 this week, and then buy zone at 393 to 394. There's a lot of support at 393 to 394, and that's where you're going to want to be buying the call options on the SPY heading into this week. As of now, we're simply looking to identify if 407 as resistance. As of now, it is. Tomorrow, if 407 reacts as a resistance, we play the puts, ride it back down to this overall support level. If you look at the SPY, there's really no support. These are just big spikes. $400, there's support, but once it cracks that, your next support is at 395 to 393. So it's going to be a good week, guys. Let's analyze the 407 level. If it breaks above that, then we wait till 410.97, and 407 to 405 to $400. Cracks 400, then it goes to 395, 393, and then calls at 393. Those are our key make it or break it levels. That's what I'm paying attention to. So again, 410.97, 407, and below 395 to 393 zone. So the call zone is 393 to 395. The put zone is 407. If it goes above that, then 410.97. Very simple stuff. We're looking for bearish reactions, a roof, bearish confirmations to be forming. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson and learned a lot. This should be a phenomenal week to be trading SPY. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if it can continue to have this bearish gap close reversal for the micro downtrend. In terms of the macro, I think we go higher for the micro. It is showing signals of a further pullback coming, which would be a great opportunity to be buying calls at 393 to 395 as well, in my opinion, for initial reaction test. With that being said, Trader Society is going to be reopening soon along with new trading programs. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be launching towards the end of December. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. I will see you tomorrow live at Market Open for those of you within Trader Society.